So what do I think about Techlandia? I love the snarky writing all throughout the cards. Even the rule book has like comments peppered throughout. It's just, I believe in you. I think you can do it. We won't judge you. It's just all sorts of little things like that that really make the rule book entertaining to read. It really helps bring home the theme of a bunch of vloggers investigating that Lovecraftian tech with the writing on the encounters, the gear, the lore cards, all of it. The writing is excellent. I mean, seriously, a giant tech company introducing a new phone to enslave the masses? That doesn't happen in real life. Kind of. But it's also easy to play. 2 actions, next person. Makes it easy to teach. Makes it easy to learn. It lets players get right into the game. The text on the cards is perfectly clear on what to do. No long world-building quotes, just, a short comment and then what the card does. Now, one thing about the cards, though, is some cards that mechanically do the same thing say it differently, which could lead to some confusion. But really, if you just kind of read what the card says, it is perfectly clear. Now, the variability of the board is nice. There's 4 blue tiles, there's 4 red tiles. Blues are easier locations. Reds are harder locations, usually when you draw the encounter card. And you're only playing 4 in each game, so it does mix it up some. However, that's also a weakness. There's really no difference between the blue locations and the red locations. Some kind of like variable power. If you end your turn here, gain something. If you end your turn here, do something else. That could have really mixed it up and added an element, a nice strategy to the game on where you might want to end up. And the enemy cards, while they're nice, these things are huge. They really don't need to be this big for the information that they give. And it's especially annoying because if you don't defeat an enemy, you're supposed to leave it on the table by the location that you failed it at. And it takes up a lot of room. So these definitely could have been a bit smaller. Some kind of skill check beyond just the +1. Maybe if you have memes, you can draw an extra gear card or something. Just something to kind of differentiate these a little bit more would have been nicer also. Now, speaking of the skills and the investigations, for the investigations, you draw a card that's either pass or fail. That's it. There's no real dice rolling. There's no skill checks. It would have been nicer to have something like, if you have the meme skill, do this, otherwise do that. Just to kind of mix up and make the skills matter a bit more in the game. And really, otherwise the skills aren't really used. They're used in battle for that +1, and that's really it. It's really a missed opportunity to just add another layer to the game. Now, in solo is nice. There's no real rule changes. The only 2 real modifications are if you're supposed to give a card to another player, you discard the card instead. And if you become a fanboy, you just move the Doomsday track to the next red number, discard your gear cards, and draw a new one, and you move on. That's really the only 2 rule changes. If you watch the playthrough after my review, you'll see that I was able to play an entire game in 10 minutes flat. Now, setup obviously takes a little long, but still, even with setup, playing, and breakdown, we're looking anywhere between 20 and 30 minutes for a full game. That's awesome, especially since, I got 3 kids, and it's hard to get some games in some night. So that's great that I could set up, play, and tear down in less than half an hour. Now, this is still a good game. I know I was negative on a lot of it, but it's actually still a very good game. It's quick, it's a light Lovecraftian themed dungeon crawler. It's easy to learn, it's easy to teach, but the only thing that people might have problems with is the luck-based. A lot of it is card and dice rolling. But really, the gear cards help mitigate it. It's still fun. So really, people that say, oh, it's all luck-based, ignore them. It is still a fun game, and the cards can help you mitigate all that anyways. This is a great game that will get to the table quite often because of the setup, play, and teardown time. So I'm going to be giving this game a 7 out of 10. And if you like this video, please subscribe to the channel for more. As you can see, I've got the game set up and ready to go. So let's get started. All right. What do I have in my hand? Remove one enemy from the board and take their decryption code. Automatically win one battle. Reduce an enemy's combat rating by 1. Ignore an investigation card and draw a new one. Take an additional action this turn. Alright. Let's see here. So the doomsday clock is set to 20. Rideshare or die. Your Uber pulls up to the glass front doors of the largest building on the Techlandia campus, where a smattering of abandoned electric scooters litter the walkway. Reporters, bloggers, and YouTubers mill around in the Welcome Center. Lacking an invite to this event, you slip in unnoticed, determined to expose the truth behind the TX1. Alright, so let's go to meet and greet and investigate. Success, spawn a QR code. Roll a die. If the number is greater than the number of gear cards in your hand, spawn an enemy. It is not, so no enemy needed. Alright, I will collect you. Oh, and I successfully investigated room 4. 2. We'll investigate. Success. Spawn a QR code and an enemy via the location deck. So they are going to the conference room. Alright. That was 1. And I successfully investigated room 3. 2. 1, and I'll attack you. It is fast and loose. Why issue a no comment when an outright lie will do? You once heard him mutter something about serving a greater truth, but was that a lie as well? So skill is disinfo, but mind memes, so that doesn't give me anything, but he's got an attack of 3. 5. So I am good, which gets me a decryption code. And for my second act, I will claim that QR code. This moves down. I haven't investigated this room yet. Failure. Draw an encounter card. If in a red room, discard a gear card. Alright. Encounter. We control the news cycle. Suffer a reality distortion hit to your objectivity. And then I have to discard. I like the action. Reduce an enemy's combat rating by 1. We'll do that one. It wasn't successfully investigated, so I shall do it again. Man, draw an encounter. If in the red room, spawn an enemy. We got another encounter and an enemy. Switch places with any other player. If solo, draw a location and move to that room. I am going to the press room. That was 2, so I read 15. The darkening sky. The glass windows facing out onto the Techlandia campus darken and unearthly wind howls past. It's funny, you don't recall Alexa saying anything about bad weather today. Looking outside, clouds swirl in a tight spiral overhead as a murder of crows circle just below. That's probably not a good sign. Each player draws an encounter card. Last year's phone. Next turn, take only 1 action. Okay. Well, 1. And then I'll attack him. The intern. This new kid is rising quickly through the ranks. He's not even out of college, but already knows more dark secrets about the company than you ever will. And the skill is mean, so I get a +1. And it's a 2, so really no matter what I roll, he's going to be defeated. That gets me another decryption code. And my second act, I'm going to investigate that room. Success. Spawn a QR code, then discard a gear card. Seriously? Oh, I forgot I had this. I could have ignored one of those investigations. Well, that stinks. Just a 13. I will collect you. And that was also, I investigated room 2. Okay. 1, 2. Here, and I will investigate the selfie statuary. Success. Spawn a QR code using location, but also spawn an enemy at your location. Going to security. All right. So actually what I'm going to do is use this to remove an enemy from the board and take their decryption code. And, uh-oh, I don't remember how many moves I just did. I investigated, which spawned all that, used a card, so I should have 1 action left. I will move there. And actually take an additional turn to collect this last one. And now I go down to 11. And I'm in security, so I almost forgot my iPad to scan these. Alright, so I've got to take an action. I mean, I could get it because I can do all 4, and I got all 3 decryptions. So we will scan the first one. Invalid. Scanned one. I'm going to use a decryption code for another one. Second one. Invalid. Use a decryption code for the third one. Ah, got it. QR code accepted. That was 1 action. Second action. Read 10. Do you hear voices? The low electronic hum that underlies everything in the building fades. In its place, you hear faint whispering that seems to come from under the floor. The lights flicker for a moment, and you could swear something brushes by you in the darkness. The lights come back on, the hum returns, but you sense something has changed. Each player draws an encounter card. Head back to the Welcome Center to find another room. Oh, come on. Fine. 1, 2. Elevator, second action. I can get out. Yay! So that is the game Techlandia by Dan Eckerman.
Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a like and subscribe to our channel. Also, check out our podcast, and you can find us on all of our social media sites on gameandparty.com. See you on the next video.